Dakar 18 is an incredibly mixed experience, and it seems like a lot of people don't know what to expect going into it. If I had to sum it up in one word, it would be navigation. This is where Dakar 18 really shines, and it's incredibly faithful to real Rally Raid. In other areas, the game's had some issues. At the time of this review, it's November 2018, late November, and there's already been 9 updates. It seems like it's fixed many of the issues, but there's still some other little things that could be improved. The game's available on PS4, Xbox One, and PC. If you're expecting something like the Dirt series of rally games, you might want to watch this review because it's actually quite different. Some background about myself to put the review in context: I'm a massive motorsport fan. I like everything from endurance racing to stage rally to, of course, Rally Raid and the Dakar Rally. I'm a huge nerd too. I love getting into the minutiae of topics. Things like simulator games are something that I really enjoy. I'm extremely interested in Rally Raid as well. I've been following the Dakar for years, and I've always wanted to know more about it and wanted more and more coverage. I watch onboard video and things like this, so I'm a huge nerd for this. If I were to rename Dakar with a really descriptive title, it would be Rally Raid Simulator 18. If you know the simulator type games, they're incredibly good at delivering minute details of a topic, but a lot of times there's things where they fall down or have issues, so that's kind of something you should keep in mind when we talk about this. If you like this video, be sure to hit that like button, comment, let me know what you think of it in the comments. I've never done a review, this is the first time, so I hope it goes well. Subscribe to the channel for more content like this, and make sure you hit that notification bell. Alright, let's get into the review. The Dakar Rally is a multi-day Rally Raid event. Originally, it ran from Paris to Dakar in Senegal, Africa. It was first run in 1978. The rally is known for being one of the most punishing endurance motor racing events in the world, and just finishing is a huge accomplishment. Rally Raid, unlike the more familiar special stage rally like the WRC, is focused primarily on long distances where navigation is the key, and most of the driving occurs off-road, so not on like a gravel track or anything. It's kind of a point-to-point race, but there's actually a specified route that's laid out in a road book that you have to follow and hit checkpoints along the way. In 2009, the race was moved to South America due to security issues in Africa, and it's been run there ever since. Currently, Dakar 18 consists of 14 stages crossing 3 countries: Peru, Bolivia, and Argentina. These 14 stages aren't just short 10 to 15 minute affairs. The first stage is a 5 to 10 minute introduction, but after that you're thrust into the world of Rally Raid with 50-minute plus stages. At this point in my career playthrough, the longest stage that I've done personally has taken me about 70 minutes, but I've seen posts from other people that the later stages can take at least 2 hours. Some stages appear to be broken up into special sections that then have road traversals in them. You don't drive through these road traversals. There's a slight issue in Dakar 18 where the special stage distance is not quite accurate. They include the road traversal in there. There are 3 difficulty modes: Rookie, Competitor, and Legend. Rookie essentially is the super handhold mode. There's waypoint markers on the compass and you just follow those. Competitor is more realistic. You have to follow the roadbook and you have no assisting marks. On Legend, AI speed is increased and damage is increased, and you get no mid-stage saves. On Rookie, you have unlimited mid-stage saves. Every time you hit a waypoint, you save the game, you can exit and restart at that point. On Competitor, you get less. I haven't been able to find exact numbers on this. On Legend, you get none. You have to do the full stage in one sitting. At the time of this review, there's only these 14 stages of the Dakar. There is an announcement of a new rally that's coming to the game as DLC. There's no release date given yet, so right now you have these 14 stages. Well, that may not seem like a lot. A single playthrough is probably going to take you somewhere in the range of 15 to 20 hours, and it's unlikely with such long stages that you'll remember the details of all of them, so you'll still have that feeling of unknown. In Dakar 18, you can compete in a variety of different vehicles. There's of course cars, which are heavily modified SUVs, buggies, and trucks, pickup trucks. Trucks, these are the big guys, the support trucks, motorcycles, quads, and side-by-side UTVs. There's in total 16 different vehicles. There's some variations on those, but essentially 16 different ones. You can see on the screen that I have all the different vehicles you can drive showing. These are fully licensed vehicles. In total, there's 16 different vehicles. There's variations on those, but 16 is the basic number. These have actual competitors linked to them too, so it doesn't affect how they perform per se, but it's kind of cool that you could play as your favorite competitor. Cars, trucks, and side-by-sides all come with a co-driver navigator who will sit there and read the road book and the notes to you and give you advice, sometimes tell you when you're going off course. We'll talk more about the co-driver a little later. Quads and bikes, on the other hand, are completely solo. You're on your own, so you're going to need to know how to read the road book. This is probably more for advanced users, and Dakar 18 is actually really good about telling you, hey, you're choosing something that might be very hard. Are you sure you want to do this? Pay attention to that. In my testing, most vehicles were pretty stable. I've tested with both the controller and the wheel. We'll talk more about controls later. The only issue I really had was with the quads. They don't seem to be modeled very well. They have a very short wheelbase, and they just are really unstable and tend to spin really often, so I didn't enjoy those. One thing about the vehicles that's a little annoying is they're actually really hard to tip over. So something like the truck, you would think, oh, I need to be really careful on the side of this dune, I don't want to roll over, but actually, if you do end up on your side, the truck tends to lean back up. I'm not a fan of this. It would be really annoying to get stuck like that, but it would be kind of nice to have some danger in that aspect. There is a damage model, but in my truck playthrough, I haven't been able to damage the truck heavily, despite some pretty big offs. But when I was driving in the Peugeot buggy, I did manage to hit a dune from a really high height, and it did knock me out of the race. The driving physics aren't spectacular, but they're not terrible either. To me, they most mimic like Colin McRae Dirt 1. Kind of feels like that. It's slightly arcadey, it's not like fully arcade. There are regions where you can encounter like soft sand or mud and theoretically get stuck. The tutorial you go through how you can get out of the vehicle and assist other vehicles. You can get out and put in sand rails or pull out a shovel and dig yourself out. I played around with getting stuck in the tutorial a bit. The system doesn't work well. When you're out of the car, the vehicle still moves around. It doesn't stay stationary, so you'll put in a recovery board and it flops around, and yeah, the system just doesn't work that well. Also, towing other vehicles is a little wonky. I haven't got stuck in my career mode. It's a nice idea, but in practice it's not implemented well, so I don't know. It's kind of cool, but it just doesn't work. The camera system isn't bad, but it's not as tunable as I would like. You have 4 different options essentially. You have onboard cockpit, which has a nicely modeled cockpit, but you can't quite move the camera and change the field of view to exactly what I would like. You have an off-board view, which is your standard chase camera. There's a helicopter camera, which really is not very usable. It's kind of cool, it mimics real shots you get from the Dakar, but you can't move the camera around as much as you would like. And then there's of course the bonnet cam, which some people will prefer instead of onboard. If you want to go no HUD, you're gonna have to drive in cockpit view though, otherwise you have no compass. There's all the normal accessories. You have wipers, which come into play with sand and mud and things like that, and lights. I haven't needed the lights yet, but I haven't driven in really dark times. It's kind of cool to have it, but it's just accessories. It's not critical to the function. The controls are clearly aimed, in my opinion, at a gamepad user. Gamepad controls work well and feel really similar, like I said, to Colin McRae Dirt 1, the first of the Dirt series. Motorcycles and quads are obviously going to be better with a gamepad because you can control pitch in the air, so whether you're leaning forward or backwards. Early on release, it appears that there were a number of issues with steering wheel support. Currently, my Logitech G27 has been supported pretty well. There's some control issues with button mapping, and sometimes it feels like it changes. I have had to tweak it a bit to get it to feel what I want. The feedback is there, but it's not anything special. And clearly this wasn't designed for 900-degree wheels. I've turned the degrees of rotation down to 500. In the patch notes, there's been a lot of talk about wheel support, adding wheel support. I think, at least I know Logitech and Fanatec are supported. I'm sure Thrustmaster is as well. Not sure about other smaller wheels. The in-game options for tuning wheel support are pretty limited. I need to fully test them more, but I've been focusing on the Logitech Profiler, so if you're on console, you might not have that option. With that, also tuning the vehicles themselves, there's really almost no options. You can adjust height, tire pressure, toe, but toe isn't explained which toe angle it's affecting, whether it's front or back, and roll bar on or off. But again, it's not clear if that's front or rear roll bars or just both. So really, it's kind of poor support in terms of tuning. I haven't really tried racing with the keyboard. I'm sure it's possible. It's probably very similar to a gamepad, but obviously if you have a gamepad, that's a good choice. If you have a wheel, that's probably even better. The navigation in the environment are where Dakar 18 truly stands out, and it really captures the sense of fear of getting lost that you experience when you're in a truly remote place. If you've ever been lost in the middle of nowhere, you get a bit of panic and you don't know where you're going, everything looks the same. Dakar 18 has given me that feeling. At its simplest, the Dakar is point-to-point racing, but you're following the set route in the road book. I'll be doing an in-depth guide to how to read the road book and about rally raid navigation, because it's actually really interesting. The road book is really well done. It looks like a real road book, and it's essentially somewhat like the rally's pace notes that you would use for a stage rally. It's set by the organizers, and it's the same for all competitors, so you're not going out and making your own notes. It's the navigation guide to the rally. The road book gives you all the directions you need. It gives you distances to the next waypoint. It gives you direction on a compass bearing. There are simple illustrations that show features such as crossing roads or ruins, houses, things like this. All of the things you need to navigate to the next waypoint. While there's some annoyances here, this is definitely the best feature of Dakar 18. It provides a real rally raid experience. You're navigating, you're getting lost, you're making sure that you're following the road book, and you use advanced rally raid techniques like resetting odometers, things like this, to do it. If you're not interested in navigation, if you want to play a stage rally game like Dirt, Dakar probably isn't for you. If you're really interested in navigation and rally raid and feeling what it's like to really be on the Dakar, I highly recommend Dakar 18. The vehicles are equipped with the road book, an odometer for measuring distance, and a compass for heading. That's it. While modern rally raid cars have GPS, you're not allowed to use this in like a map mode like you would in your road car. So all you can do is use the compass to point you in the correct direction and follow the road. As mentioned earlier, multi-person vehicles like cars and trucks and side-by-sides will have a co-driver who reads you the notes and gives you directions. This is helpful if you're new. It's definitely a good place to start because you're trying to drive and you can't read at the same time very well. The problem is the voiceover work is of varying quality, and generally it's kind of bad in Dakar 18. There's a lot of annoying dialogue lines.
We're moving too far away!
And it leads to the co-driver basically making fun of you and yelling at you all the time. It doesn't feel like you're part of a team. It feels like this is a person that has to sit there with you. When you're on a bike, you're on your own, so you have to read the road book by yourself. The vehicles set off at varying intervals, so you're not racing head-to-head, but you're gonna encounter other vehicles on the stage. If you get lost, it can be handy to drive around and look for other vehicles and follow them. So far, I haven't noticed that the AI gets lost. They seem to know exactly where they're going. So yeah, I've used them to help me get back on track. Of course, you're losing time, but it's better than resetting to the last waypoint, which gives you like a 15-minute penalty. The environment of Dakar 18 isn't particularly detailed, but it is beautiful and vast in its own way. There's rather simple models for things, but the terrain is quite varied, and you can easily get lost in it. They've created a huge area that has over 5,700 square miles of terrain. That's 15,000 square kilometers for metric people. And so it's quite a large area. You are following a small route in there, but you can easily get off track. This feels really nice because it's not a corridor-based rally game where you're just following a simple modeled corridor. It's a whole open world and you're traversing across it. The environments are explorable in a free roam treasure hunt mode, but other than getting to know your vehicle and figuring out how it handles, this mode really isn't very rewarding. There don't tend to be a lot of things to see along the way either. It's a lot of dunes. Unfortunately, you can only drive the free roam for stages you've completed in the rally, and that's only for the career mode you're in. So if you've done stage 1 through 5 in the truck, you can go into free roam on stage 1 through 5 in the truck, but you can't do it for a car or a bike. You have to then go into this career mode and beat those stages to unlock them for that. The overall game has basically one feature, one system. There's career mode. That's pretty much everything at this point. You can have multiple careers at a time in the different vehicles, but you can't pick specific stages. You have to beat them in order, and then you can go into free roam with them, but you have to beat them with each of the vehicles. Multiplayer is present. There's actually split screen multiplayer. There's also online multiplayer where you can do treasure hunt together, so basically free roam, or you can do a stage with other players. I haven't tested multiplayer. It's not really gonna come into play unless you get stuck maybe and you need to help your friend get out or something like that, or you navigate together. Like I mentioned, there is a bit of a free roam, but that's based on the career you have open. There's tutorials in there. They could be more descriptive. They're pretty short, but they do teach you the basics and get you started at least enough where you're not completely confused. One interesting feature is that there's a free Android-based app that actually has the full roadbook in there. So if you have a friend who wants to read you the notes, you could do that. Or if you want to study the stages and learn what the notes mean and learn all the symbols and things like that, that's there that you can do it outside of the game. It's kind of a cool feature. In summary, I would like to have a list of pros and cons, but what is a pro for me might be a con for you, so I'm going to give you a list of features that I think are important. Dakar 18 has an epic and highly realistic navigation system. To me, this is the biggest draw of this. It keeps me wanting to go back for more. It is rally raid. There's a massive open world to navigate into, so you can easily get lost. You're not seeing the same areas over and over again. It's really quite interesting, and it gives me that navigation, open world, off-road racing feeling that I've been looking for a long time. There's a number of licensed Dakar vehicles and teams. If you're a huge Dakar fanatic, that might be a major draw for you. The stages are long. If you're like me and you like endurance type events, these are definitely epic journeys, and you easily can get lost, and you easily can sink hours in and be so engrossed that you don't know that time is going by. You will get lost. This is a pro and a con. Getting lost sucks, right? You're wandering around trying to figure out where you were and where you're going, but I think that adds the drama to Dakar 18. You really have to stay focused and focus on the road book. It's being updated and supported. When it launched, it probably wasn't in the state that it really needed to be in, and there's still a lot of issues with it. These don't break the game, but they don't really make it as immersive as it could be. We do know that there's at least one more rally coming as DLC. It should be free to people who own it for a limited number of days. We don't have any major details on it though, so more content would be nice. Once you beat the initial rally, you're going to be doing it again, just in a different vehicle. To me, the major drawbacks are co-driver VO. The voiceover work for the co-driver is just frustrating, and really it turns a lot of people off. It gets the point across, but it could have been much better. And as such an integral feature, navigation, right? That's the main thing about Rally Raid. It really should have been one of the main focuses. Another drawback are quads are included, but it's terrible to drive. I could not see doing an hour and a half on a quad. It would just be very, very frustrating. The limited number of stages might limit your replayability of it. If you really want that full sense of navigating into the unknown, you're gonna have to wait for the new rally. Hopefully they'll bring more to this, but right now we only have one rally. One major drawback to this is it's really only for serious Rally Raid fans, and that needs to be put across more in the marketing material, right? This is all about rally navigation. If you just want to follow a road, you're gonna have a bad time. So probably stay away if you're not interested in learning the navigation system. It's really not super user-friendly early on, and a lot of stuff isn't explained well. How the waypoints work, how the invisible and visible waypoints work. There could have been a lot more work done on this. It's clear that the system is accurate, but it's not explained well. I think that's going to turn off a lot of people who aren't Rally Raid fans. Ultimately, I hope that I've showed you the basis of what Dakar 18 is. You can check out some of my live streams to see what kind of the actual gameplay itself is like. If you like this review, be sure to hit the like button. This is the first time I've ever done something like this, and it was more monumental than I expected it to be. If you enjoy this kind of content, be sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. You'll get all my latest videos. I'm planning on doing more in Dakar 18. Thanks for watching this review. Let me know what you thought down in the comments below. Be sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel for more, and hit that notification bell. You'll get all my latest videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.